The galaxy had long considered humans insignificant. To most of the known civilizations, Earth was just a small blue planet orbiting an unremarkable star. Humans were emotional, unpredictable, and seemingly unorganized. While other species had starships capable of traveling faster than light and weapons that could obliterate entire planets, humans were still learning to control fire, organize governments, and explore the surface of their own world. Yet, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy, humans were changing. Deep in the outer reaches of the solar system, beyond Pluto, massive space yards floated silently. Vast structures of metal and energy gleamed faintly in the darkness. Here, humans were building something extraordinary. These were not ordinary ships. They were warships, yes, but more than that. They were instruments of deterrence designed not to conquer, but to protect. The construction was meticulous. Every component, every weapon system, and every AI interface had been designed with precision beyond anything the galaxy could imagine. Humans had studied every known alien military tactic, every pattern of war across civilizations, and combined it with their own creativity and stubbornness. They were building not just ships, but a promise that if threatened, humanity would defend itself with unyielding strength. Meanwhile, beyond the edge of the Kuiper Belt, alien scouts moved quietly. They belonged to the Galactic Union, a coalition of civilizations far older and more advanced than humans. They observed Earth with curiosity, amusement, and mild disdain. Why waste resources on a primitive species? The Union's commander, Admiral Kareth, remarked as he watched human activity on nearby moons. They are no threat. They cannot even coordinate a planetary defense without chaos. But even as Kareth spoke, the humans were preparing in silence. No alarms, no broadcasts, no attempts to communicate. The galaxy had no idea what was happening. The Union assumed that their eyes could see everything, but humans had mastered the art of subtlety and concealment. Their ships were cloaked in darkness, invisible to scanners, moving slowly yet deliberately through space. In one hidden chamber of the space yard, Commander Selene Chen stood before a holographic display, reviewing the status of the fleet. Selene was one of the most respected leaders among humans, not because of her rank, but because of her understanding of human potential. Her eyes scanned the ships as they hovered in orbit around the outer asteroids, their forms sleek and deadly. Each vessel was unique, built for a specific purpose: long-range stealth, rapid assault, or planetary defense. "They will underestimate us," Selene said softly, more to herself than anyone else. "They always do. And when they do, it will be too late." Her assistant, Lieutenant Arjun Patel, nodded. "Our scouts confirm unusual readings near Neptune. Alien activity is increasing. They are closer than before." Selene did not look surprised. The humans had anticipated this. For decades, Earth had been aware of the Union's distant gaze. And for decades, humans had been learning, preparing, and waiting. "Let them come," she replied. "When they see what we can do, the galaxy will finally understand." Far beyond Pluto, a small Union drone entered the outskirts of human-controlled space. It was unarmed, designed only for observation. The alien crew laughed, confident in their superiority. "A primitive species," one of them said, "building warships they cannot even understand." How amusing. The drone approached the fleet, scanning with sensors that could detect energy fluctuations and structural weaknesses. But the humans had prepared for every possibility. Energy signatures were masked. Shields were silent. The drone, moving closer, suddenly experienced interference, unsubtle at first, then overpowering. Its systems failed one by one, and before the Union crew could react, the drone vanished. No signal, no trace. It simply disappeared into the void. The Union's amusement turned into unease. "This is unusual," Admiral Kareth admitted. "Recall all drones. Increase sensor range. Humanity may be hiding something we do not understand." Back on Earth, Selene watched the response through hidden relay systems. She smiled faintly. "Let them see nothing. Let them think us weak. That is their mistake." While humans were quiet in their approach, their minds were not idle. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, developing new propulsion systems, defensive technologies, and energy-based weapons. Some ships carried kinetic rods that could travel faster than light. Others had shields capable of withstanding the most powerful alien weapons. The AI systems were self-learning, adapting instantly to any threat. Every detail was tested, simulated, and perfected. Meanwhile, humans on Earth continued their ordinary lives, completely unaware to the casual observer of the vast preparation happening above them. Cities bustled, children played in parks, and politicians debated trivial matters. To the galaxy, humanity looked small, disorganized, and ordinary. But above the world, the hidden fleet waited silently. One evening, as the stars shimmered over the Pacific Ocean, Celine walked along a quiet observation deck of the space yard. She gazed at the horizon of the solar system where planets glowed faintly. "The galaxy does not see us yet," she whispered. "But it will, and when it does, silence will follow." Her words were prophetic, because in the coming months, every action humans had taken, every technology developed in secret, and every strategy perfected would come together in a moment that would change the galaxy forever. Even now, as alien fleets moved cautiously near Mars and Jupiter, the humans remained calm. Their confidence was quiet, unspoken but absolute. They had studied fear, known it, and turned it into strength. They had learned the most important lesson of all. Power without arrogance could command respect in ways no threat or demand could. In the distant corridors of Union starships, some began to whisper warnings. "We should not underestimate them," said a young lieutenant. "Something is happening. They are more than they appear." But few listened. Pride blinded them, just as it always did. Humans were dismissed as a minor species, a curiosity at most. They had no idea that the small blue planet they mocked harbored fleets capable of changing the balance of the galaxy. At the hidden command center near Neptune, Celine convened a final review. Maps of the solar system and beyond were displayed in holographic detail. The fleet's readiness was complete. All systems had passed simulations. Every weapon and shield had been tested. Every possible scenario had been accounted for. "Our time will come," Celine said, her voice steady. "When the galaxy steps too close, we will remind them of one thing. Humans do not beg, humans do not hide, and humans do not forgive when their survival is at stake." And so, the humans waited. The galaxy, unaware, continued its usual routines. Trade routes were maintained. Politics unfolded. Wars between alien species flared and faded. But humans watched silently, prepared for a day that no one else could predict. The moment was coming. The galaxy would witness a species that the humans had waited patiently for decades, preparing in silence while the galaxy ignored them. Now the time had come. A massive fleet from the Galactic Union appeared near Mars, stretching across millions of kilometers of space. Thousands of starships bristling with weapons and shields moved in formation. From a distance, the fleet was dazzling, a living constellation of metal and energy. It was the mightiest armada the galaxy had ever assembled. Its purpose was clear: to force humans to reveal their secrets and submit to the Union's authority. Admiral Kareth, leader of the fleet, hovered in the command bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion. He was tall, with scales that glimmered silver in the dim light of Mars's orbit, and eyes that burned with arrogance. "We give them one chance," he said to his lieutenants. "Share your technology or face the consequences. We will not tolerate defiance from a primitive species." The Union had seen countless young civilizations. Most bowed, some rebelled briefly, and a few even tried to fight. All had failed. The galaxy had never treated humanity seriously, and now it was time to teach humans a lesson. Far below on Earth, Commander Celine Chen observed the approaching fleet from the hidden command center near Neptune. She did not panic. The humans had planned for this moment with precision, and every ship in the fleet was ready. She tapped a control panel, and a holographic projection of the Union Armada appeared before her. Every detail had been calculated, every angle of attack anticipated. "Let them come closer," she said calmly. "They will see nothing yet, but they will understand soon enough." Lieutenant Arjun Patel, standing beside her, frowned. "Should we try communication? Perhaps a warning?" Celine shook her head. "They already know we exist. A warning would only invite arrogance. They need to see reality." As the Union fleet moved into the inner solar system, their sensors detected nothing unusual. No human warships were visible. The asteroids in the Kuiper belt appeared empty. No transmissions, no signs of life, no structures. The Union's confidence grew. "They hide nothing. They are weak," Kareth announced. And then the silence broke. From the darkness of space, black ships emerged, sleek, silent, and unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The humans had not used traditional engines or cloaking alone. They had combined stealth technology with advanced gravitational manipulation. To Union sensors, the ships appeared and disappeared at will. The first human vessel moved like a shadow across the stars, targeting a Union scout cruiser. Without a sound, a kinetic rod and a simple metal projectile moving faster than light struck the cruiser. The explosion was instantaneous. The vessel disintegrated before any shields could activate. Admiral Kareth stared in disbelief. Impossible. That is faster than anything we know, but the humans were only beginning. From the asteroid belt, hundreds of ships emerged simultaneously, forming a vast and silent strike force. Each ship had its own target. Each strike was calculated, precise, and deadly. In less than 3 minutes, the Union's initial invasion fleet of thousands of ships had been reduced to drifting wreckage. Human ships did not fire indiscriminately. They targeted weapons, engines, and command systems first. The goal was not slaughter. It was deterrence. Yet the display of power was terrifying. Union ships were disappearing before they could even respond. Those that tried to escape were intercepted and neutralized with cold efficiency. In the Eternal Dominion, Kareth tried to issue orders, but the comms were disrupted. Every attempt to coordinate the fleet failed. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They are faster than our tracking." From Earth, Celine watched the battle unfold with quiet satisfaction. She had anticipated every move. She had designed the fleet to demonstrate humanity's strength without unnecessary destruction. "They will remember this," she said softly. "The galaxy will never ignore us again." Meanwhile, across the Union, panic spread. Officers whispered in fear as reports of destroyed ships reached them. The galaxy had never witnessed such combat. No alien species had ever combined intelligence, stealth, speed, and precision like this. Humans were no longer just a curiosity. They were a force to be respected. The human fleet did not linger. After the assault, they retreated to hidden positions beyond Neptune. No one saw them leave. No one knew where they had gone. All that remained were the remnants of the Union's armada, drifting in space like broken stars. On Earth, life continued as usual. Citizens were unaware of the battle that had taken place in the shadows of their solar system. Children played, schools operated, and cities hummed with activity. Only the humans tasked with defending the planet knew the truth. Humanity had proven its strength to the galaxy. The aftermath sent shockwaves across alien civilizations. Messages from the edge of the galaxy, transmitted by faster-than-light communication, reached planets and stations everywhere. Humans are not what we thought. They are more. Rumors spread. Some speculated that humans had discovered ancient alien technology. Others believed they had secretly developed weapons capable of bending the very fabric of space. And some whispered theories that humans had fought wars long before the galaxy even knew they existed. For humans, the result was clear. They had not only defended their planet, but they had also delivered a message. Underestimating humanity was a mistake no one could afford to make again. In the command center, Celine debriefed her team. "Today we have shown the galaxy who we are. But this is only the beginning. The Union will not forgive so easily. They will study, analyze, and eventually challenge us again. Our job is to be ready, not just for them, but for any civilization that believes they can threaten humanity." Arjun nodded. "And they will remember. Every fleet, every admiral, every species will remember Earth." Celine's eyes reflected the distant sunlight of Neptune. "Yes, and perhaps in remembering they will also learn something more important, that strength paired with restraint can shape the galaxy in ways no threat ever could." In the days following the battle, the Union struggled to comprehend what had happened. Their records of the humans were updated with caution, fear, and awe. No fleet dared to approach the solar system without considering the possibility of annihilation. Humanity had become a silent guardian of its own world, a force that combined ingenuity, courage, and discipline. Even other civilizations, far removed from the Union, took notice. Traders, explorers, and diplomats whispered about the humans who had destroyed a fleet without losing a single ship. Across the galaxy, the name Earth began to carry a new meaning, one of power, respect, and unpredictability. Yet on Earth, there was no celebration. Humanity did not boast. The fleet returned to its hidden bases. The weapons were maintained and life went on. The humans understood something the galaxy had not yet learned. True power is silent. It does not need to announce itself. It simply exists, ready and capable. Celine walked among her crew in the aftermath. "Remember," she said, "our strength is not just in weapons or ships. It is in our preparation, our unity, and our choice to defend what is right. The galaxy may fear us, but they will also respect us if we continue wisely." As the stars shone over Earth and the distant planets, the message was clear. Humans were no longer a species to be underestimated. They had revealed only a fraction of their true power, yet the galaxy already knew that its silence had been earned. And in the shadows of space, far from the eyes of any civilization, the human fleet waited, silent, ready, patient, for the day the galaxy truly needed to understand that humans were a force unlike any other. The battle had ended, but the galaxy was far from calm. News of humanity's attack on the Union fleet spread faster than light, carried by transmissions, sensors, and word of mouth across star systems. Entire civilizations stopped what they were doing just to process the astonishing event. A species previously dismissed as primitive had destroyed a fleet hundreds of times their size, and not a single human ship had been lost. On a distant station orbiting the planet Vera, Counselor Trowell of the Androvian species leaned back in his chair, trembling slightly. I cannot comprehend it," he muttered. "Humans. They were supposed to be weak, yet they annihilated the fleet with, what, precision? Technology, strategy? All of it?" The station buzzed with tension. Officers whispered in corners. Traders paused their conversations. Even the normally stoic scientists of Vera were wide-eyed. The humans had become the galaxy's greatest unknown, terrifying, unpredictable, and silently powerful. In the aftermath, every alien species began to question what they truly knew about humanity. Was Earth the only planet with such power? Had humans been hiding fleets for decades or even centuries? Some speculated about ancient war machines buried deep within Earth's crust, while others believed humans had developed weapons beyond the laws of physics. Rumors spread like wildfire. The galaxy had never faced a mystery quite like this. Meanwhile, humans themselves did not celebrate. On Earth, life continued with a quiet rhythm. Children went to school, markets bustled, and cities hummed with everyday activity. The people of Earth were largely unaware of the panic they had caused across star systems. Their fleet returned to its hidden bases beyond Neptune and in deep space orbital yards, maintenance crews inspecting ships, engineers recalibrating systems, and AI monitors running simulations to prepare for any future threat. Commander Celine Chen observed the galaxy's reaction from the command center. "We did not fight to instill fear," she told her officers. "We fought to defend ourselves. Fear is a consequence, but our true purpose is to prepare the galaxy for a new kind of understanding." Lieutenant Arjun Patel nodded. "It seems they already understand more than we intended. Every fleet we've observed is now hesitating. They are unsure of how to approach us." Celine's eyes were calm but sharp. "That hesitation is our advantage. We will use it wisely. But we cannot rely on their fear alone. One day someone may try to test us again. We must be ready always." In the Union's capital world, the Council of 12 convened in an emergency session. Holograms of drifting wreckage from the human strike littered the chamber. The councilors debated for hours, their voices rising and falling in panic and disbelief. "This cannot be a single fleet," one argued. "They must have reinforcements hidden somewhere. Entire planets of humans ready to strike?" Another counselor shook his head. "We underestimated them. We mocked them, and now we have no choice but to reassess everything. Our spies, our technologies, our strategies, all useless against a species that thinks differently." Even the Union's scientists were struggling to provide answers. They analyzed the wreckage, attempted to trace the weapon's energy signatures, and simulated the attack. Yet each model failed. Humans had employed techniques that no other species had ever conceived. Their combination of stealth, speed, precision, and adaptability was unmatched. Every analysis ended with the same result. Humanity was no longer a minor threat. Humanity was a force to be reckoned with, and while the galaxy debated, humanity remained silent. There were no speeches, no announcements, no threats broadcast across the stars. Silence was their message. Their silence said more than any weapon ever could. We are prepared, we are capable, and we do not need to boast. Yet not everyone feared humanity. Some aliens were curious. Explorers, scholars, and historians began sending discreet probes and messages toward Earth, hoping to learn more. They were met with silence. Every probe returned damaged or destroyed, every transmission unanswered. The humans were watching, but they were not revealing themselves. Curiosity, they knew, could be as dangerous as aggression. On Earth, Selene convened her leadership council to discuss the next steps. Maps of the galaxy, locations of fleets, and intelligence on potential threats filled the holographic displays. "We have sent a message," she began. "The galaxy has seen our power, but we have not sought dominance. We have not taken lives unnecessarily. That is our advantage, restraint. Now we must maintain it and continue to prepare for the future." Arjun looked over the projections. "And what about the Union? Will they try again?" Selene's expression was steady. "Perhaps. Some may not forgive so quickly. Others may attempt smaller incursions. But they will all remember the cost of underestimating humanity, and that memory will guide their actions for decades." The story of humanity's strike spread across civilizations like a whisper in the void. Traders spoke of the humans who could destroy fleets with uncanny precision. Diplomats began to request audience with Earth's representatives, hoping to negotiate alliances before it was too late. Even the smallest species, far from the core worlds, adjusted their own defenses in secret, imagining a human fleet descending upon them. In the darkness beyond Saturn, one small alien scout reported, "The humans, they are unlike anything in the galaxy. I see their ships, but they are not merely machines. Their strategy, it is beyond our understanding." The galaxy's response was a mixture of fear, respect, and awe. Entire civilizations paused to reconsider their assumptions. Every fleet, every council, every merchant ship now treated Earth with caution. For the first time, humans were not ignored, mocked, or dismissed. They were noticed, but humanity did not exploit this attention. They remained vigilant, not aggressive. The fleet continued exercises, testing new technologies and refining their strategies. Scientists continued developing propulsion systems, defensive shields, and advanced AI. Engineers worked on orbital defense stations and planetary protection systems. Every day, humans became stronger, smarter, and more prepared. Selene walked through the corridors of the command center one evening, observing the quiet hum of activity. "Power is not in boasting," she said softly. "Power is in preparation, in patience, in understanding that the galaxy will respond according to your actions. Today, the galaxy fears us. Tomorrow, it may seek to understand us. And when that time comes, we must be ready to show why we deserve their respect, not their obedience." Her words were a reminder to all officers. Humanity's strength was not in the weapons themselves, but in the wisdom with which they were used. Every crew member understood that restraint was as powerful as firepower. In the following weeks, scouts reported subtle changes across the galaxy. Fleets moved more cautiously. Alien governments debated policies more carefully. Even routine trade routes were altered, as merchants sought to avoid regions where humans might intervene. Humanity's demonstration had created a ripple effect, one that would continue to shape the galaxy for years to come. And yet, life on Earth remained mostly ordinary. People walked their streets unaware of the distant war that had never reached them. Children laughed in playgrounds unaware of the fleets hovering silently beyond the planets. Scientists and engineers worked on their projects, but most remained unaware of how close they had come to becoming legends in the galaxy. Selene observed all of this from the command center, reflecting on the fragile balance between power and responsibility. "The galaxy has learned to fear us," she said quietly, "but fear is fleeting. Respect lasts, and respect is earned by action, by wisdom, and by restraint." Even as humans continued to prepare, the galaxy began to whisper their name with a mixture of awe and caution. "Earth," they said, "the planet that destroyed a fleet in minutes. The species that cannot be underestimated. The humans, In that whisper, humanity had become more than a species. They had become a symbol of potential, of power, and of what it truly meant to defend one's world with intelligence and courage. The galaxy was learning a hard lesson. The galaxy had begun to whisper about humans, but whispers could turn into challenges. Pride, fear, and ambition drove the Galactic Union and its allies to act. They refused to accept the limits of their understanding. If one species could destroy fleets effortlessly, then perhaps others could too, or so they believed. Across the galaxy, leaders convened in secret. The Union had lost thousands of ships in the previous encounter, but they still had resources. They sent messages to other civilizations calling for an alliance. 5,000 warships from 100 species answered, uniting under the banner of the Grand Armada. This was no ordinary fleet. It was the largest force the galaxy had ever assembled, a living storm of metal, energy, and firepower. Admiral Kareth, humbled but unyielding, commanded the fleet. He had learned caution, but he had also learned stubbornness. We will teach Earth that no species, no matter how cunning, can defy the galaxy without consequences, he told his officers. We strike not out of fear but out of duty. Prepare all weapons. No mercy will be shown. In the silence of Earth's hidden command centers, Selene Chen studied the intelligence reports. She did not underestimate the scale of the threat. They believe numbers alone can win, she said to her officers. They are wrong. Humanity does not fight by numbers alone. We fight with strategy, preparation, and precision. Arjun Patel, reviewing fleet readiness, frowned. They are 5,000 ships strong. Even with our defenses, can we withstand that? Selene shook her head, her gaze steady. We will not just withstand them. We will show them why restraint is stronger than recklessness. This is the moment humanity proves not only its power, but its wisdom. Days passed as the Grand Armada entered the solar system. Each alien fleet moved cautiously, but determination burned in every captain's eyes. To them, this was justice. To humanity, it was an opportunity to show the galaxy a different truth. Power paired with wisdom could achieve what aggression alone never could. The humans had prepared for this. They activated Project Aegis, a network of orbital defense platforms, AI-controlled drones, and advanced shields surrounding Earth. Each station was equipped with weapons designed for precision, not waste. The humans had anticipated every possible attack route and countermeasure, testing their strategies in simulations over decades. On the command bridge of the flagship Horizon Sentinel, Selene addressed her officers. Remember, this is not just defense. It is a demonstration. Every move we make will show the galaxy why humans do not rule by fear, but by preparedness and intelligence. We protect, we do not conquer. As the first ships of the Grand Armada entered the outer solar system, the humans struck. Kinetic rods, faster than light and guided with precision, destroyed the leading alien vessels before they could react. Energy pulses cut through shields like sunlight through mist. Union captains, confident in their numbers, suddenly found themselves surrounded by invisible attackers they could not predict. Admiral Kareth, watching from his flagship, could only gasp. It cannot be. How are they? Each wave of human attacks was calculated. They did not waste ammunition or energy. Every strike disabled, disoriented, or destroyed, leaving the invading fleets in chaos. Ships collided in panic, and alien commanders struggled to regain control. For 11 minutes the battle raged, a storm of light, metal, and energy. And then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. Every alien ship that had survived was either destroyed, disabled, or forced into retreat. The space surrounding Jupiter and Saturn was littered with wreckage. Not a single human ship was lost. Across the galaxy, news traveled instantly. Civilizations that had not witnessed the first attack now understood humanity's true strength. It was no longer a rumor or speculation. It was undeniable. Humans had defended their planet against the mightiest fleet in history and emerged unscathed. In the Grand Armada's command halls, chaos reigned. Counselors argued, commanders shouted, and fear replaced pride. We were foolish, one admitted. They are, beyond anything we imagined. Admiral Kareth, usually composed, now sat in stunned silence. His pride had been shattered, his assumptions destroyed. We underestimated them, he whispered, and it will cost us forever. On Earth, Selene and her officers observed the aftermath. Let the galaxy learn, she said softly. Let them see that humanity does not fight for conquest but for protection. We have shown our strength, but we have shown our restraint. That is what sets us apart. Even as humans maintained vigilance, they also extended help. In the following weeks, they quietly began sending messages to wounded planets and colonies across the galaxy. Medical aid, food, and supplies were delivered to those affected by the war. Humans were careful not to display dominance, but their actions spoke volumes. Power could be combined with compassion, and respect could be earned through wisdom, not fear. The Union, humbled and broken, began withdrawing from political control. Civilizations that had once followed the Union reconsidered their allegiance. The galaxy learned a valuable lesson. Humans were not conquerors but guardians. Their strength was unmatched, but their choice to protect rather than dominate defined them. Celine reflected on the events from the observation deck of the command center. The stars shimmered over the solar system, peaceful now after the storm of war. "We have achieved more than victory," she said. "We have shown the galaxy the meaning of restraint, preparation, and intelligence. They will remember this day for generations." Lieutenant Patel nodded. "And yet, some may still try to challenge us," Celine smiled faintly. "Let them. The galaxy is learning that attacking humans is a mistake, and every mistake teaches the universe a little more about who we are." Across the void of space, whispers spread. Traders, explorers, and scholars shared tales of the human fleet. "They fight with strategy and intelligence," one said. "They are unlike any species we have ever known. We cannot ignore them." In secret, some aliens began to study humans more carefully. They sent small probes, attempted to decipher Earth signals, and analyzed the wreckage of the Grand Armada. All concluded the same thing. Humanity was not simply powerful. They were adaptive, intelligent, and disciplined beyond comprehension. Meanwhile, on Earth, ordinary life continued. Children played in parks, unaware of the vast fleets that had fought and fallen in the shadows of their solar system. Scientists pursued peaceful research, engineers developed new technology, and citizens lived their lives, unknowingly under the protection of the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever seen. Celine walked through the command center, observing the quiet hum of activity. "True power," she said to her officers, "is not in destruction but in control. Not in fear but in preparedness. Today we have defended our home and reminded the galaxy of this truth. Tomorrow we continue to learn, to grow, and to protect." Her officers understood the lesson. Humanity's victory was not just about ships or weapons. It was about discipline, intelligence, and the careful choice to act only when necessary. That combination, they realized, made humans the most formidable species in the galaxy. Not because they sought war, but because they understood it and wielded their strength with wisdom. In the days following the battle, humans continued to patrol the outer solar system, monitor alien movements, and refine their fleet strategies. They remained vigilant, prepared for any future challenge. The galaxy had witnessed their power, and the message was clear. Humans were not to be underestimated, and somewhere in the dark reaches of space, beyond the farthest planets, the human fleet waited silently, not for revenge, not for conquest, but for the moment when their presence was needed again. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Even the mightiest fleets could be destroyed by a species they underestimated. And the humans had not only survived, they had demonstrated a principle that would guide interstellar relations for generations. Strength without recklessness, and power balanced by wisdom, is the greatest force in the universe. As Earth rotated under the light of the sun, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, reflecting the new respect the galaxy held for its inhabitants. And in that quiet brilliance, humanity's presence was felt, silent, patient, and ready to defend, ensuring that the solar system and its people would remain safe for all time. The solar system was quiet. The Grand Armada lay in ruin, and the surviving ships of the Galactic Union and its allies had retreated to the far reaches of the galaxy. No one dared approach Earth or the human fleet again. The galaxy had learned a hard truth. Humans were not a species to be underestimated, but humanity did not celebrate. There were no parades, no announcements, no demands for recognition. Life on Earth continued quietly as it had for centuries. Children laughed in playgrounds, scientists conducted research, engineers built spacecraft, and families lived their daily lives. To an observer unaware of the events in space, nothing had changed. Yet everything had changed. Humanity's victory had reshaped the galaxy. Civilizations that had once considered Earth insignificant now approached with caution. Traders rerouted their shipments to avoid human territory, diplomats revised alliances, and military planners reconsidered their strategies. Humanity had not conquered anyone, but they had achieved something far greater: universal respect. Commander Selene Chen walked along the observation deck of the hidden command center near Neptune. Her eyes swept across the stars, still scattered with remnants of the Grand Armada. "The galaxy has learned," she said softly, "but lessons are only useful if remembered. Our work is not finished. We must guide them, not through fear, but through wisdom." Lieutenant Arjun Patel, standing beside her, nodded. "They have learned to fear us. But do they understand us?" Selene's gaze remained steady. "They will. Eventually they will realize that our strength is not just in our ships, our weapons, or our tactics. Our strength is in our choices. We choose to protect, to defend, to preserve. That is what makes humanity unique." Across the galaxy, alien species began to respond in ways they had never done before. Civilizations that had been on the brink of war reconsidered conflicts. Planetary governments sent emissaries to Earth hoping to learn from humans rather than challenge them. Even distant colonies far from the solar system sought guidance and cooperation. Humans, in turn, did not seek power or dominance. They offered aid, knowledge, and protection. Hospitals and research stations were established on planets recovering from wars, while Earth scientists shared medical advancements and agricultural technology. Trade routes were reopened with care, helping species rebuild without fear of exploitation. Humanity's message was clear: strength was to protect, not to conquer. Wisdom, not arrogance, would lead the galaxy forward. In secret, the human fleet continued its patrols. Orbital stations monitored the edges of the solar system, while ships silently observed distant stars and fleets. No alien dared to challenge humanity, but humanity remained vigilant. They understood that respect must be maintained, and that true power required both preparation and patience. On one of Earth's orbital command centers, Selene addressed her leadership council. "Today the galaxy respects us. Tomorrow we must ensure they remember why, not through force but through action, not through fear but through responsibility. That is our duty." Her officers listened carefully. They understood that humanity's victory had been more than a battle. It had been a statement that humans, though underestimated, could defend themselves, outthink and outmaneuver even the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. Meanwhile, alien historians and scholars began documenting the events. The battle against the Grand Armada was recorded in detail, analyzed for decades to come. Civilization studied human strategies, technologies, and behavior. They marveled not just at the human strength, but at their restraint, discipline, and intelligence. Humanity had demonstrated a new model for what a species could be: powerful but wise, capable but compassionate, feared but respected. Even within the Galactic Union, the landscape of power shifted. Former leaders who had once scorned humanity now advocated cooperation. Former enemies sought dialogue instead of conflict. The Union itself gradually dissolved, replaced by a new organization known as the Concord of Peace, guided quietly by humans. Their leadership was subtle but influential, built not on dominance but on the respect they had earned. Back on Earth, life continued with quiet dignity. Children learned in schools about the stars, science, and the importance of wisdom. Scientists and engineers continued their research, now aware of the galaxy's gaze but undaunted. Humanity had achieved recognition not through conquest, but through preparedness, intelligence, and courage. Selene Chen often reflected on the lessons learned. "The galaxy fears power," she said one evening, standing beneath the Earth's night sky. "But it respects restraint. It fears destruction, but it respects responsibility. That is why humans will endure. That is why our story is different." Lieutenant Patel smiled. "And yet we do not stop. We continue to grow, to learn, to protect. That is what makes us human." The galaxy, though still recovering from the shock of humanity's display of power, had changed forever. Aliens who had once ignored Earth now studied its civilizations, its technology, and its culture. They sought alliances, not subjugation. They sought understanding, not conflict. Humans had proven that a species could shape the galaxy not through fear alone, but through intelligence, preparation, and moral courage. In hidden command centers, the human fleet continued its watch. Ships moved silently through the outer planets, drones patrolled the edges of the solar system, and AI systems monitored signals from across the stars. Every day humanity refined its technology, strengthened its defenses, and prepared for the future. They had won the battle, but they understood that true victory was maintaining peace, security, and wisdom across a galaxy that could still be unpredictable. Stories of humanity's triumph spread far and wide. Merchants, explorers, and diplomats whispered tales of the humans who had destroyed an entire armada without losing a single ship. Artists and historians recorded the events with reverence. Even distant planets, untouched by war, adjusted their policies and strategies simply to respect humanity's capabilities. And yet, humanity remained humble. The people of Earth did not boast. They did not demand loyalty or fear. They simply continued to live, to learn, and to protect. Their power was silent, yet unmistakable. Their influence was gentle, yet undeniable. Celine observed a holographic display showing the far reaches of the galaxy. "Our victory is not measured in ships destroyed or battles won," she said. "It is measured in the respect earned and the lives preserved. That is the legacy of humanity. That is the message we leave for the stars." As the years passed, humanity's presence became a stabilizing force. The galaxy, once chaotic and driven by fear and ambition, began to adopt new principles of cooperation, guided indirectly by human influence. Wars became shorter, disputes were resolved more quickly, and civilization sought peaceful solutions whenever possible. The humans had demonstrated that true strength was not domination, but the combination of intelligence, preparation, and moral responsibility. On Earth, children looked up at the stars with curiosity and wonder. They did not see the battles, the fleets, or the strategies. They saw possibility. They saw hope. And they inherited a galaxy that had been quietly shaped by the courage, wisdom, and restraint of their species. Celine walked along the observation deck one last time. The solar system shimmered in calm beauty. "The galaxy falls silent because it has learned to listen," she said softly. "It listens not out of fear alone, but out of respect. And that is the true power of humanity, to command attention through wisdom, to protect without conquering, and to endure because of moral courage." The human fleet remained vigilant, always ready but never boastful. Humanity's strength was no longer a secret, but it was not used for domination. It was a promise to protect